I mean, I was starting to believe that it was impossible, that there's no way that you could be an adult with ADHD and even be able to like somewhat manage your home. I would start cleaning the kitchen, then go take care of something with the kids. Next thing you knew, I was outside watering the garden, and then I would decide that the dog needed to be groomed. True story. My husband was miserable, I was frustrated, and everything was in a state of chaos. Like, is there even any hope? I'm Heidi with Heavenly Minded Home, and welcome to our channel. We love sharing with you guys in our videos each and every day, talking about all the homey things. So from homemaking to homeschooling, home discipleship to homesteading, all with an eternal heavenly minded perspective as we live today and every day to the glory of God. And something that I know has been a big area of struggle for me is ADHD. The lovely thing that I was not diagnosed with as a child, didn't start to put these pieces together until an adult when I was seeking out help for my children and things that they were dealing with, and started going, what? That was what my problem has been all along? I just thought I was a bad homemaker. I just thought that I was scatterbrained. I just thought that I had a hard time sticking with one project. I thought there was something that I was just bad at. I just couldn't do it. I thought that there was no hope, and that just is what it is. Apparently I'm bad at that. But then you start to realize, no, it's how my system's working. It's what's going on. So for those of us that do struggle with ADHD, is there any hope when it comes to keeping the home, when it comes to creating a home for our family that is organized, put together, not in a complete state of chaos all the time? We're going to tackle those things today because it is so important. I love talking about these topics, and I love being able to put them out there so that it can potentially be a blessing to you and your family. So we're going to talk about all things ADHD this week because I think there's just so many important topics here to cover. So as a mom with it, down to kids who have it, and homeschooling and Bible study and all of the things that we have going on in our lives as followers of Christ, how do we tackle that when either we have ADHD or the kiddos have ADHD? How do we get through? Starting today with my simple, proven, effective tips that really can be a blessing. It's not a one size fits all, but I promise you these principles can be a huge help when it comes to having some sort of like order and system and plan in the home. Even when you're struggling with ADHD, even when you're struggling to be able to put it all together, whether you're feeling overwhelmed or you're hyper-focused right now and everything else is going to pot, these are some things that can start helping you today if you start checking them off and making them your routines. Real quick before we get going, let's hit pause here and say, guys, I'm not a doctor. I am not a medical professional. I think that that would be kind of common knowledge, but we are on the interweb. So let me just state it. I am not here to give you any sort of medical advice or anything else. I'm just saying, from a mom with ADHD, a mom who has kids with ADHD, these are the things that we've run into in our own personal stories. These are the tips and tricks and things that we have implemented to make a big difference for our family. Is it one size fits all? No. But do these principles still work? Do they still have an impact? Yes, they do. You just have to make sure that you find what works for you and your family in your current season of life. So that was my little 2 cents. Let's get back to the video. So friends, how can we do this? How can we even thrive in our homes with ADHD? First and foremost, you need a simple system. This is huge. I became a wife and mom at 17 years old. On my 18th birthday, we moved into our first apartment. So I had a really big learning curve really quickly when it came to, I'm a wife and a mom and I have a home to keep while keeping a tiny human alive. I don't know where to begin. This is where it really stood out to me that I had some struggles I was dealing with. Luckily, I found the Fly Lady system, and for me, this was huge. Now, over the years, I have made a lot of changes to this, really making it work for me, especially with ADHD. So I have a simplified approach to the Fly Lady system that, again, if it can be a blessing and a use for you guys, I will link it down below. You guys can get my completed system, printables, the whole shebang on a private website. It's all linked down there. Having a simple system that you can customize to work for you in whatever season of life you're in is so huge when it comes to being able to thrive as a homemaker when you're dealing with ADHD. I think it's a good thing to do regardless, but especially for those of us who have some additional struggles going on, having a system in place is really, really important. Making sure it's something that's simple is really, really important. This gives us some structure. It gives us some direction. So instead of just being completely overwhelmed and not knowing where to start or bouncing all over the place because we're just kind of willy-nilly with the whole thing, this helps set some guidelines, set some framework, and say, hey, this is what we're doing, and this is the system in which we're going to do it. I don't have to use up all my brain power every single day to figure it out. I just simply follow the system. And for me, that was a huge help when it came to being able to keep my home, keep all my things in balance like we talked about last week, and have it all put together when I'm kind of dealing with some things that make it a little more difficult. The second huge tip here to help you thrive as a homemaker when you're dealing with ADHD would be to deal with one space at a time. Yes, have a method, have a system, work on a little bit of self-discipline here, and only allow yourself one focus, one space at a time. I'm not kidding when I say that for me, I will go from 0 to 100 if you give me a half an inch, and I will start deep cleaning the kitchen, and then I'll reorganize the books, and then I'll go outside and bathe the dogs, and then I'll start pressure washing the side of the house, and then I'll start planting something, and then I'll come in and deep clean my bathroom, and then next thing you know, I've basically just created 700 projects all over the place. None of them are complete. Forget about feeding my family dinner. I'm now stressed and exhausted, and the whole thing just erupts in absolute chaos. Sound familiar? Anybody? Please tell me I'm not alone. Getting some self-discipline in this area and saying, you know what? We're gonna do one space at a time. One focus, one space. That's what we're going to do. I've shared before how I do like whole home resets. And if you guys wanna watch some of those videos, I will link them in a playlist up here. I'll put them down in the description. So there's definitely plenty more to go binge away on if you want a little bit of encouragement and inspiration to do the same in your home. But I make sure that when I'm doing that, I really try to stay disciplined in one space at a time. I will pick one room. I'll bring a laundry basket or a bag or anything in with me, and anything that doesn't belong in that room, I'll just place into the basket. So instead of me leaving 75 times to go to a different room and opening up myself for distraction when I get to that space, I just put it in the basket. I work myself around in a clockwise rotation around the entire room and the entire house. And as I get to the additional rooms, the things that I've collected in the basket, I just put in there while I'm in there. Simple things like that make such a difference, especially for those of us who are very ADHD prone. It really, really helps to stay in one space, stay in one focus. I pick one room, I work around in a clockwise rotation to clean that room, say that 5 times fast, and then I go to the next room and I do the same thing, and then I go to the next room and I do the same thing, and I do that until the entire house is clean. So that way, I have a less likely chance of deciding to go shear the sheep and plant the garden and wash the car and deep clean the shower and kind of like just bounce all over the place and create mass chaos for myself and my home, because I do that far too often and I can't have that. I gotta stick to the system here. Friends, my third tip here for us who are really wanting to thrive in our homes, use timers, okay? Timers are amazing, and all this week when I talk about ADHD with the kids, in our homeschool, in all of the things, timers are your friend. I personally have my watch, and I love my watch. I use it all the time for everything. We've had little just regular timers that we can walk around with, and I have on the fridge, and I have in the kids' rooms. Using the timers is so incredibly helpful. Being able to say, hey, I need to get up and at least get started. Here's my system. If you guys use my simplified approach to the Fly Lady system, you're gonna see me talk about this over and over and over again in those class videos. we set timers. Hey, I'm gonna go declutter, 15 minutes. I can do that. I can put 15 minutes in today. When you're overwhelmed, you don't know where to start, or you know that you can get into something and lose track of time and get hyper-focused on it, having a timer there, not just saying, looking at the clock and being like, I'll do this for 15 minutes, literally setting a timer for 15 minutes so that way it alerts you. It grabs your attention. It says, hey, you've done it. You did it. We can kind of put that check there. Okay, give us a little bit of encouragement and momentum, but also keep us on track so that we are getting it done, but we're not losing track of time and allowing us to kind of work through our steps that we need to in an efficient way. Timers are your best friend, I promise you. The fourth tip I have for you guys, as we really are seeking to thrive as homemakers, would be to start the night before, okay? I know sometimes this can be a little difficult, especially if you're kind of just like frazzled by the end of the night, but to start your day for success the night before is such a big deal. By starting in the evening, that way when you wake up in the morning, you have some of these key elements already handled. It really can help. I know for me, I start feeling really overwhelmed. Got a lot of things. I'm already struggling on my own to try to keep them all together and keep all my pieces straight and all of the different things. Being able to start off with a little bit of success is a huge boost to my ability to be able to keep it together and really stay on track with all the things that I need to work through in my systems and organization and doing the different things we just talked about. Starting the night before is a huge key to that success. So whether it's making sure that the dishes are loaded, you're gonna see in our system, we talk a lot about having our sink empty and shiny, running a load of laundry overnight, having my robotic vacuum run overnight, finding these different little things that we're gonna talk about here in a second that you can do the night before. Is it clearing off the counters? Is it having the sink empty? Is it having the things that you know you're gonna need first thing in the morning already gathered and put together? Maybe it's scheduling the coffee maker so that way you just wake up and you already have some of those things put together, ready. We're on it, we're going, and I'm not having that like immediate feeling of overwhelm and chaos as soon as I wake up. I even have our Google Home Assistant set up to, at a certain time every morning, start playing some of my soft hymns of the homemaker. You guys can get the playlist right up here. I use that to set the tone of my home. And so I wake up, I have a cup of coffee, the music is just playing, I pull out my Bible. I've been enjoying my spiral Bible lately, so I like set it all out and I'm doing my thing, and it's just, I started for success the night before, kind of getting these things going. I wake up, I get to do it. If you guys want to see like full day in the lives of exactly how I do this, leave me a comment down below. I'm happy to share that with you guys, but start the night before. I promise you it makes a huge difference. And I will link some of the kind of like routine videos that I've done before if you guys want to see these things in action as well. So in that starting the night before, kind of having your system, sticking to one space, something that's really important here, my fifth tip for you guys, find your non-negotiables, okay? This is huge. And I think especially, I mean, really everybody can learn from this, but especially those of us who are struggling with ADHD, and we really do want to be thriving in our homes. What are your non-negotiables? What are those things that really trigger you, that really overwhelm you, that really cause a lot of things to just get wonky and frustrating for you? Find those non-negotiables, those things that you can work into your evening routine that kind of sets you up for morning success, or your things that you really want to hit on and you want to have a priority and focus where, like we talked about doing one thing, you go in and you do that every day. What are some of those things that are a big deal for you? For me, certain things are like clutter on counters. It drives me crazy. Horizontal surfaces being cluttered just makes my whole brain, I feel like, get all gunked up, and then I can't think straight and I don't know what I'm doing and I can't focus on anything until I get that taken care of. My floors being dirty drives me crazy. I have my robotic vacuum that runs every night. I have my vacuum mop that I use quite frequently. To me, it's very, very therapeutic. I love my vacuum mop so much because it's one easy step, I get it done, I feel really accomplished, the floors are clean, I feel better about life. To me, those are some things that are non-negotiables. I hate dealing with laundry. We have a very specific laundry system set up so that I'm never behind on laundry, because that's very overwhelming to me. Think of those things that are those overwhelming things, that are those triggering things. Make those your non-negotiables. Work those into your evening routine, your simplified system, the focus that you're going to go to. So that way you're checking those off. You're getting those under control, and then you can feel like you can breathe a little bit, you can think a little bit, and you can move on to the rest of the things. So friends, those would be my top 5 tips to help us mamas with ADHD really thrive in our homes. It's not a one-size-fits-all, but these tips, I promise you, when you work through them, you apply them to your life, you're going to start to see changes. You're gonna start to find in this season of life what works for you, so that you can start to feel like, I've got a system here. We're getting this in place. I can handle it and take care of it, and it's not just chaos. Home shouldn't be overwhelming. Home shouldn't be burdensome. And so if it does feel that way, let's make some changes. Let's make some changes so that home can be our place of refuge. It can be the space where we nurture our families and we host others and we share that love of Christ here within whatever space the Lord has allotted us. Is our home perfect? Not at all. Do I run into times of imbalance and overwhelm? Absolutely I do. But guess what? I rely on these tips and tricks that I shared with you guys here today to bring myself back together, to help me find balance, to help me find system, to help me find a way to process through all of the just normal things of life when I know that I struggle with ADHD. I know that I have some things and some ways that I work that are just a little different, and sometimes it can make it a little extra challenging, but that's okay. The Lord is always there to strengthen us and guide us. And if this can be a help to you, if you want to pass this along to another mama that you know is struggling in the same way to try to keep this going, click the share button down there, send it over to them. But hopefully this can be a help. Come hang out with us all this week as we continue to talk about all the areas of life. When mom has ADHD, when the kiddos have ADHD, I'm even going to share different ways that we eat, different things that we do to help a family with a lot of ADHD going on under our roof. So hopefully this can be a help. Hope to see you guys right back here tomorrow. And again, if you want to dig in a little deeper to kind of my systems and the practical how I do these things to keep my house in some form of order, even with some disadvantages I'm dealing with, you guys can go check out this playlist right up here. I think you're going to love it, and hopefully it can be an encouragement and inspiration for you today as you try to tackle these things in your home. Otherwise, I'll see you all right back here tomorrow. Bye, friends.